Good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining Dana's Daily Doodles, and I'm going to be posting my life application everyday Bible study in just a few moments. It will be following this. Actually, I'll probably attach it, so you'll see this first and then the full video to follow. And I also videoed in landscape today so that I can upload it to YouTube. It's a little different than portrait. So I hope it turns out okay, and I hope you have a great day. Happy Tuesday to you. Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for joining Dana's Daily Doodles this morning, October 14th, Tuesday. And I just wanted to say that yesterday was a great day and a hard day for many, but a wonderful victory over the hostages being relieved. I was so elated and happy, and I just looked at yesterday and tried to think of the positive. There's so many more steps to be taken, and we all know that. But step one was a great day, a huge blessing, and so I wanted to start with just saying, thank God, thank all the people that have helped and gone through and go through this journey of out there, the troops and everyone else that we would thank that play a part in this terrible word called war and hostages and all those things that none of us want to think about. And I'm not even educated enough to talk about it, but I do know one thing. The hostages were released yesterday, and what that must have felt like. Number two, relief is now pouring into Gaza for all of the literally starving people, which also would come about in many ways. Fresh water, all of the things that we have, and I don't know if we take it for granted every day, but we have it, and it's just a fact. Fresh water, food, shelter. And so looking at that, it was just a good day altogether. And in our Bible study and just life application, either way you want to take that, looking at how our thoughts affect our life. And believe me, I am one of you. I am one of them, which is all of us. It's difficult, but we have to try and silence our negative thoughts. Why? Because when they come in, we should refuse them, but sometimes we have to process and think it through. But it's the way we process. So, negative thoughts coming in, what do you say when you talk to yourself every day, over and over again? We're one of many negative thoughts come through. We get stuck in, it's called a negative loop. So what can help us to get out of that negative loop? Sometimes what I do before I even have my feet hit the floor is I say my morning prayer. I give thanks and gratitude for everything. I pray over myself, my loved ones, my animals, friends, family, everyone like that. And then you might start thinking about money. You might start thinking about relationships. You might start thinking about your day, the traffic. But again, those are all those negative thoughts that start flooding in that we have to refuse them. So this negative loop, if we look at Proverbs 4, verse 23, it does say in the Bible, be careful how you think. Your life is shaped by how your thoughts shape your life. Your life is always running in the direction of how you think. Life is shaped by our thoughts, and that's why we have to be very careful of that loop that we get stuck in. It's an over and over again. Give it to God. Give it away. Say, nope, I'm not going to go there. If you possibly can stop yourself and think of something positive, please do that. Look up Deuteronomy 1:6. So in my one book that I reference that is easy to understand, it was a time in Deuteronomy 1:6 when the people of the nation of Israel wandered around. Okay, I had to get up real quick. So they wandered around in the wilderness for 40 years. You know how, things are kind of like that, exaggerated. So we just look at it for what it is. It's the way it was written, making what was actually, quote unquote, an 11-day journey. Why? Was it their enemies, their circumstances, the trials along the way, or something entirely different that prevented them from arriving at their destination? Just pondering the situation, God gave me a powerful revelation that has helped me personally as well as thousands of others. The Lord said, the children of Israel spent 40 years in the wilderness making an 11-day trip because they had wilderness mentality. And what it was is wandering, just like our mind. We really shouldn't look at this with such astonishment because most of us do the same thing that they did. It's just written and explained this way. We keep going around and around, like, for instance, the same mountains instead of making progress. The result is it takes us years to experience victory over something that could and should have been dealt with quickly. Quickly could be processing, could take a couple days, couple minutes, couple hours. Everything is up to the individual person. But taking years and dwelling is the difficult part. It's the part that you, again, are in the negative loop. Okay? But processing is part of life. I think the Lord is saying the same thing to me, the same thing to you. He said to the children in their day, you have dwelt long enough on the same mountain. It's time to move on. So even looking at yesterday, that's nothing that we could apply to that situation. The mountain that they were on, they were able to come off of yesterday when the hostages were released. That's completely different. That is a mindset. The mothers and fathers and loved ones, what was their mindset over the 2 years? So that, of course, is a different situation, but there are many verses that could help with that. But for you and I, it's more of what we're looking at today, to silence our negative thoughts. We've stayed here long enough. So like many others did yesterday, many of us need to do today. Come off of that mountain, okay? It's time to move on. And so that's the message today. And I think it's a good message because this mountain that we get stuck on is going to and will introduce itself possibly daily. It could be even something just small. But it's also, again, looking back at the other 2 Bible studies and life application studies that we have done on the past 2 Tuesdays, it also has a lot to do with worry and where we place our worry. How do we silence our negative thoughts? What do you say when you talk to yourself over and over again? Be really careful how we talk to ourselves. My mom used to say to me, you need to be careful how you talk to yourself, Dana. And a lot of times, in one ear and out the other. But now that I look back, she was right. And it was just like, are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, I have to do this again. I have to do that again. And we all have these days, but we also have great days. We have quiet days. And there's just so much to look at if we take it apart. And if you want to do that, like I had said previously, take a little part of, it's like pros and cons, but it's the good versus the better versus, well, I'm working on this versus, wow, I'm really worried about this. If we write these things down, so I'm going to start with the good and then look at the other situations. But let's just start with what we're thankful for. And number 1, again, I'm telling you, is just the water and my coffee, to just have a warm, wonderful cup of coffee. And then I get emotional from thinking about yesterday and everything that these people went through, and then all of the news in the United States that we listen to every day, and the explosion, and the government, and this is the loop the loop we're in. It's real. Okay. Like I said, years ago, I learned in that one Bible study, I mean, years ago, my kids were young, is that look at what is true and what is real. Well, these things are true and these things are real, but we have to have a place to place our fright and our worry. It's not going to help just in that rocking chair. Oh no, oh no, all day long. This is not proactive. This is not helping us. So let's start looking at these verses and let's, put ourselves in a little bit better of a place where we're off of this mountain. We're Deuteronomy 1:6. You have dwelt long enough on the same mountain. It is time to move on. I hope this helped. And I hope that when we come together on Tuesdays, we help each other. I'm not able to go live until I have 100 followers on Facebook, Dana's Daily Doodles Facebook, and I can go live on YouTube, but it's restricted until I have much more subscribers. So even with trying to post recipes, I can do like one a day, it looks like, and not overwhelm. Okay, so today, which I thought was yesterday, but I'm going to post this, and then after so many hours, I'm going to be posting the video on my homemade pumpkin bread. So look for that and get off of that mountain, get out of that rocking chair of worry. It's a blistery, bluzzery, bling bling day today in Northern California, and I just wish you a warm and comfortable day. Thank you for joining Dana's Daily Doodles.